Hmm. Now we're recording. I'll just repeat, today is August 9th, and we have Paige Kavinsky and Margie Klein joining us. Walt was busy tonight, and I'm always excited to have new people and what we'll call special guests to our Facebook Lives. We're going to put a little spin on it tonight because we've been talking for the last 4 weeks, I think now, about self-care. And about habits and what it takes to create them, some of what they are specifically, and we'll probably dive into future meetings with specifics about each habit. But tonight's spin is going to be about women, because we can do that tonight. And so I'm going to basically queue it up for some questions for everybody, and we would welcome any comments or questions that you want us to answer, either privately with you after the fact, or maybe on our next live. So as a way of introduction, Margie is another healthcare professional like both Paige and I, actually officially retired after, what is it, 35 years? 40 years as a RN, right, in various ways, and has become a dear friend of mine, used to be in the Philadelphia area and now is in Delaware. So Margie, would you take a few minutes and just kind of share a little bit about your experience with our whole program and about getting healthier, and then we'll go into some Q&A about women's care.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it's I'm really happy to be here and do this. My story is that about 10 years ago, I was in the middle of the throes of postmenopausal symptoms. I was 55. I was alone a lot of the time. My husband traveled for work. My kids were away at college. So my activity was eating in front of the TV, scrolling Facebook. I was a little out of control with that eating and very upset about that, because I felt like I should know what to do, being a nurse and being able to control that, but I wasn't. The scale was going up, had that brain fog, really low energy. But I have to say, scrolling Facebook did have a benefit, because that's where I saw an acquaintance of mine just over the moon about this program that she and her husband did. She was posting all these healthy recipes, saying how much energy they had. We had met them on a cycling trip. They were, going on cycling trips and feeling so much stronger. I said, okay, I want some of that. So fast forward, she became my coach. Her name is Tammy. In fact, Tammy and John are going to come visit us over Labor Day. So we became fast friends. And the program itself, I did lose weight, but the most important thing was that I just grew, and I knew through the healthy habits that I was learning that I wasn't going to ever go back to the way I was before. It just, a mental mind shift. It just was amazing. I mean, I fell in love with the simplicity and structure, and I ate up the education. And so that, kind of blew my mind. And here I am 10 years later, helping other people, other women, get control of their symptoms and their health. And it's been amazing, and I've really enjoyed it so much.
Oh, Margie, I thank you. And it's so exciting because, just a little background, we all have sons named Ben or Benjamin, depending on if we're angry or something, right?
Right.
And yet, if I heard you correctly, I know it's been 10 years because I'm also at the 10-year mark. You mentioned how old you were when you started. And let me tell you, you don't look like a woman that is probably in her mid 60s right now. And
that's right.
I don't look like I'm in my 50s, and Paige doesn't look like she's in her 50s. And what I love is that we're all a little bit different. I have 3 kids, and one of them is going into college. 2 of them are going into college. They're twins. And Ben, Paige's son, is going into his sophomore year. And here's Margie, experiencing life with, truly adult children, in his 30s, I believe you shared. And the whole idea of what life was like when. And I think a lot of us women get stuck, right? in our 20s, we thought we knew it all and we could handle food and alcohol and being active and having some excitement. I didn't really have that because I was studying and trying to learn a career. Then in our 30s, we start to have families or just relationships, and we start to lack self-care, right? And then if we do have families, you know, the attention gets shifted. And then all of a sudden we find ourselves in our 40s and 50s going, menopause? Like, oh my God. And yet we had this inclination to think it's the end of the world and we're going to be, sorry, I'm going to be blunt. Can I be blunt? I'm always blunt. We're going to be fat and dumb and gray and saggy. You know what? I might not have the best memory, but I'm firm, I'm lean, I have a great hair colorist, and I don't look or act my age. And so for women, I think it's important. It doesn't matter what you weigh on the scale. What matters is how you show up in the world, and that you say, I'm worth taking care of me, and it's not selfish. And you get to put steps in place one at a time to create health, and you can slide through these years, whatever decade you're in. And I'm going to end with this idea that one of my biggest missions in my business world is women in their 40s, to be all honest, because I was in my 40s when I started this program. And as healthcare professionals, we all thought we knew it. We didn't. Or we didn't want to believe it, or we didn't think it was possible. We lacked belief, right? We lacked the time, the structure, the accountability. You know, we don't know what we don't know. And when we start to accept that, we can take our health wherever we want. So Paige, thoughts on what it's been like for you? We are the same age, I believe, to go from being a nurse. I am a little bit older. To going from a nurse, a mom, and then a working mom, and then realizing your health. We've heard your story, which is amazing, but share with us a little bit about the experience as a woman in the changes that you've gone through, because I've seen changes in you that are way beyond anything that can be physically seen.
So it's funny because when you said just now that I don't look like I'm in my 50s, I had an experience today at work. I was working on the floor. I'm in triage a lot, but they put me on the floor every now and then to kind of keep my brain sharp. But I worked a very busy schedule today. It was a doctor. We had 24 patients we went through between 8:30 in the morning and 5 o'clock. So it was a busy, busy day, but I was down on my knees, something I couldn't have done 2 years ago, down on my knees with a 9-month-old drawing a lead and hemoglobin on this baby finger stick. And I'm getting the blood and talking to the mom and trying to keep the kid engaged with me as I'm doing it. And it was a little boy. And I'm like, oh, my baby boy's heading back to college on Friday. And the mother went, what? You're old enough to have a kid in college? So this 20-something-year-old girl looked at me and thought, there's no way that this woman could be old enough. That felt good.
Yeah, there you go.
That was so a pretty amazing thing. You know, I didn't take care of myself. I took care of myself in my 20s. I was an athlete. I, had a job where I was doing manual labor, working at a barn with horses. In my 30s, I let myself go. I became a mom, and I was just doing my job and going through the daily routine, and seafood, eat it. I was eating, and I chose unhealthy ways to lose weight, and as a result ended up with a pacemaker because of that. So like my target is those women, to catch them before they get to that point where they have to start looking at unhealthy ways to lose weight, because we know there's another way to do it. The energy that I have, my joint pain is gone. I run. I can't believe I run. Well, never would have in a million years thought of myself as a runner. I'm riding horses again. Like, that's exciting for me to be able to ride horses again. It's just been, I feel like I found the fountain of youth. And it's more than weight loss. It's everything. It's mindset. I sleep better. I have just better relationships with my coworkers and with my, just because I feel better about myself.
Ah, that's beautiful. The word confidence, the word I'm giving you in this conversation, is the word I end up with every conversation I have with men and women, regardless of age. They lack the confidence to feel as good as they can. So they're afraid to step outside of their own closet with what they're going to wear. They're afraid of how they're going to react to situations. They're afraid of being tired or not doing well on their job. Margie, any kind of thoughts on seeing other women that you've coached, and what some of their stories may have showed you that is helpful maybe for other women to hear about the self-care and that taking that first step? And as you're experienced for 10 years and in the world of nursing, what's not done easily and what can be done? Are you open to sharing a little bit more?
Right. I had an experience when I went to my GYN doc. It's got to be about 5 or 6 years ago now. And she hadn't met me before. She met me and she says, "Oh my gosh, you're such and such an age. You must have good genes.
Oh,
You must be doing, it's the estrogen you're taking." And I said, "Well, actually, I'm on this health and wellness program that's really helped me, and I lost 25 pounds. It's really great." And she says, "Yeah, no, you've got good genes. Don't tell me." And of course, she was a little bit not in a healthy way. I don't know I don't want to be mean about it, but she just wouldn't accept that I was making choices that could make it better. And she did tell me, she says, I tell my menopausal women that they should just accept where they are, and that they will not be able to lose that weight. It's just the way it is. And I was dumbfounded, and I left the office, and so much so that later I called her, I wrote her an email. I was like, "You can't, it's like, this is what you're telling people is not true." And my experience has been, because I've coached several people in my high school class, and they, they don't believe it for themselves in the beginning when I say this is possible, and they say, "Oh, but you can do it, Margie," but I can't. And I said, "Just give it a try." And then they realize, as they start taking those baby steps, they say, "Oh, yes, I can do this." And then they, like you said, they get that confidence to keep moving forward. And then they say, "Oh, I'm going to be able to go into my 70s and 80s and 90s feeling great." And that's really what I want for myself. That's what I want for everybody. And, it's just so important as we get older, because of several things of going into menopause and all the medical things that go with it, and lowering your estrogen and losing muscle mass, that getting to a healthy weight initially is really important, and then moving on from that and doing the other steps that need to be done, to keep it going.
Yeah, it's I'm gonna be above the line and say how sad I feel in response to a healthcare provider just saying, "Oh, just because you're this age and this gender, this is what you get." And there's 3 women right here who are living proof of that. And the Paige, go ahead. You've got something, I know.
So before I started program, I was going to my doctor saying, "Let's do blood work. There's got to be something wrong with my thyroid. Like, why have I ballooned up to this? Why?" And then we started talking about, you're probably getting your menopause. This is just the way it is. And then I had to have a biopsy on my thyroid because I had a goiter and everything was fine with that. It was not cancerous. And they send me to endocrine. I'm like, all right, this is going to be the answer. She's going to find something with my thyroid and I'm just going to take a magic pill and I'm going to lose all the weight. And I walked in and it was the same thing. And she was a heftier woman. And I walked in and she said, there's nothing wrong with your thyroid. You're just fat. I think it was about 3 weeks later that I had my that one might have been like that aha moment for me, for a doctor to say to me, there's nothing wrong with your thyroid. You're just fat.
Yeah.
Horrible.
So here's the, it is horrible. So as a physician, like, I know what people think about themselves because they're sitting in my office, but there's ways of encouraging, there's ways of acknowledging and I lost my train of thought. See, that's the 50-year-old something. But how does somebody help somebody? It's just a conversation. And Marjorie, you had said something about muscle mass. And one of our training calls we just got off of, we have a brand new line of essential amino acids that are clinically studied, best in class. Paige and I have had the pleasure of already starting them, a little sneak peek. And the data is amazing with increasing muscle mass. And guess what happens when you have more muscle mass? You burn more calories.
More calories.
And that means you can keep your weight where it needs to be, or God forbid, you can actually eat more than you think you need to. And so there's a lot of misconceptions. Oh, and I remember the idea of, you know, you're looking for a reason. You're blaming a hormone for what you're doing in your life. You're blaming the kids, you're blaming the traffic, you're blaming everything but yourself. And this is hard and this is raw and this is real. And I apologize, but I did. I blamed myself. And let me, full transparency, I still do. I'm 10 years in, and Paige can vouch for this. On Sunday, I had one of those bad days in my life. And I was like, today was a shitty day for me. 10 years later, did it change my physical weight? No, but it got this cooking again. And I said, hey, ladies, this is what's happening. And because of you, I'm owning it, I'm taking responsibility, and I'm ready to take the next step literally as soon as I finish sending this message. So there's answers that are available if you want them. There's opportunities that we offer for everybody, men, women, teens, seniors. This is a program of support, of education, of community, and of nutrition, hydration, exercise, you name it. We have something for you. And I just think that, this isn't a lot of information in detail, but it's irrelevant. It's just the awakening of, take a look at who you are today and decide what you want to be tomorrow. That's what we do. It's not what the doctor said to you last month. It's not your blood test result. It's how do you want to show up and how big do you see your future, as opposed to just being stuck. And don't be afraid to reach out. The three of us and Walt and a great team of ours of different coaches of all different backgrounds, ages, careers, we know how you feel. And so hopefully something was said that it's not the end of the world to reach out and go, hey, tell me more about this. And ladies, I'm going to end with asking each of you, do you have any final thoughts, words of encouragement, something that you're looking forward to for yourselves in this next, say, 30-day period as we, conclude summer?
I just keep, and I'm not big on this word, but I keep contending and I keep trying to be consistent. And that's what I feel is my strong point. And I keep going, and I have my goals, and sometimes I don't meet them, but I keep setting them and keep doing something every day that keeps me moving forward. And the people that I encounter in my coaching business, I tell them you know, straight up, we're doing this together. And this is a journey, and we have the ability, we have the tools, we have the structure, and we need to do this, and we need to take care of ourselves. We have great big reasons. They may be different, but they're really, and Dr. A says it when, you know, if it's really important to you, you know, motivation doesn't matter. The motivation will be there. It doesn't, you know, you don't really need that motivation. It's important, and you will do it.
And one of the things that makes me think of, Margie, is, do we want to see the future generation struggle the way we did? I don't. And everybody here who may be watching this knows my kiddo, one of them, very well, because she's on here with me all the time. And I have zero doubt that her future is going to look a lot different than the trajectory I had set out for myself, because I'm empowering her with learning to make choices that are in her best interest. And we're not perfect, we're consistent. And she is going to change lives, because it's Wednesdays without Walt, now with Walt. Yay!
He ducked.
He
He's
ducked.
crawling
He's-
on the
he's-
ground.
and he can do that now, right? Because he's got the energy of somebody half his age. I love these like non-planned lives. Like, I didn't have no scripting. This is just us ladies chit-chatting. But think about it. If you demonstrate self-care, what that ripple effect is going to be to generations to come. And that has nothing to do with your scale weight. It has everything to do with up here. And it excites me, and I'm going to let Paige wrap us up.
So what am I looking for myself at the end of these 30 days? Hey, empty nester round 2. It's going to be a tough couple of weeks for me. And, you know, finding ways to be healthy and trying to deal with being an empty nester. Certainly going to be a lot different than last year. Going to be a lot of walking. That's exercise is my thing. It's my stress reliever, and I, you know, with the job and with life, stress gets to me, so I walk now. And then just walking alongside my clients and anyone new who wants to join us. I am invested in my clients, and 100%. I talk to my people, and I'm there for them. I talked to somebody on Sunday because she needed me. I'm there for them when they need it. Maybe it's not, you know, I'm just there for my clients, and it keeps me accountable, and it keeps me where I need to be mentally, is that if I'm talking to them, I know I'm doing the right thing for me. So my self-care starts with my client care, and that's what I continue to do, and that's what I strive for.
Fantastic.
I love that.
Excellent. Ladies, I don't know how much time we spent together. Sorry for the live. If it's too long, apologize. But you know what? This is who we are, and we have fun, and this is going to help us. I'm going to go finish packing. Margie's going to go pack for her trip.
Yep.
Paige is going to go say hi to her husband, her hubby, Walt, and spend some more time with her, Ben, and we'll see you all next week. Okay.
All right.
Bye.
Thanks a lot.
Bye.